Hi, welcome to another hand power training video. In the previous video, we saw the basic syntax and commenting system of PHP. In this video, we will learn about the variables and data types in PHP. Let us now proceed with the steps. Variables in PHP are denoted with the $sign. Unlike other programming languages, PHP has no command for declaring variables. It is created the moment you first assign a value to it. Now, let's look at the rules needed to create a variable in PHP. Firstly, a variable must start with a $sign. Secondly, a variable name must start with a letter or an underscore. Thirdly, a variable name cannot start with a number. Fourthly, a variable name can only contain alphanumeric character. And lastly, variable names are case sensitive. Now let's try some examples. From the examples given, we have 4 variables listed. The first TST has the string hello and welcome stored inside of it, while the second TST has the hello and welcome to N-Power stored inside of it. Remember, from our rules of creating variables in PHP, the first 2 variables are not the same. The second TST starts with a capital letter, and we learned that variables in PHP are case sensitive. Therefore, the PHP interpreter will see the second TST as different from the first TST variable. Now, let's use echo to print out our results to the screen. Now let's save and go to the web browser to see our changes. Now, on our web browser, you will notice that the first TST prints out hello and welcome to npower. Now, I want you to think of variables as containers for storing data. From these our examples, the datas hello and welcome to npower are needed somewhere down the line in our program. To achieve this, we need to store these data into a temporary containers. These containers can therefore be reused somewhere down the line in our program. Just like it can be seen on line 11 when we needed to print out the hello and welcome. At this stage, we won't need to write out the long string again. We will just reference the temporary storage, which is the $TST. Same thing goes to every other variables we declared earlier too. Variables give us the ability to be able to reuse the data we stored into the containers. Now, let's discuss some basic facts we need to know about variables. Variables in PHP are assigned using the equal to operator. Also, we need to know that variables in PHP do not need to be declared before they are being assigned. Now, let's look at the various data types that we have in PHP. In PHP, we have a total of 8 data types, which we use to construct our variables. The first data type we will be considering are what we call the integers. Now, when we talk of integers are whole numbers without a decimal point. Just like in this our example, the variable x is an integer data type because it consists of an integer value 5. Also, the variable y is also an integer data type. The second data type we will be considering are what we know as doubles. The doubles are also known as the floating point numbers. These are numbers that have decimal points. Let's look at an example. In this example, I'll declare a new variable a, and in this variable a, I will assign a floating point number. The variable a data type is a double because it consists of a value which is a decimal number. Now, let's look at the next data types we have in PHP. The next data type we will be considering is what we know as booleans. The booleans have two possible values. They can either be true or false. Now, let's take a look at an example. Here, I'll declare a variable b and then assign a boolean value to it. Just like I said earlier, Boolean values can only be either true or false. Now that the value true have been passed to the variable b, this makes the variable b a Boolean value. Now, the next data type we'll be considering is what we know as strings. The strings in PHP are sequence of characters, just like in the case of our hello and welcome. A string can be any text inside double quotes. You can also use single quotes. In this our example, the tst variable is of string type because it contains sequence of characters which are wrapped in between a double quote. Now, let's take a look at the array data type. The array data type in PHP is used to store multiple values in one single variable. Now, let's imagine we have a basket and we want to collect different type of fruit into that basket. For this kind of an example, the array is the best approach to collect the multiple fruits into the basket. Let's look at an example. In this example, the variable basket is an array because it contains multiple values. In this basket is stored 3 different fruits. We have the mango, banana, and orange, all put together into one variable called basket. This is an example of an array. We will still learn more about array as we progress in this tutorial. The next data type we will be looking at is what is known as the object data type. An object data type in PHP is a data type which stores data and the information on how to process that data. To declare an object in PHP, we must first declare a class of an object. And to do this, the class keyword is used. The class is a structure that can contain both the properties of an object and the method for which to implement that object. Let's take a look at an example. In this example, we will declare an object car. In this example, I declared an object car, and as said earlier when declaring an object, that my object contains properties and method. In this example, the property of my car is its model. This tells the model of the type of car that I have, which is the Benz. Now let's save and take a look at our results on the web browser. So now on our web browser, we have the result Benz. From this example, you can see that I'm actually printing out the property of my car, which is the model of my car, which is what we have on our web browser. That is how the object works in PHP. We'll dive deeper into objects and array as we progress in the course of this tutorial. Now, let's take a look at the next data type we have in PHP. The next data type in PHP we'll be looking at is what we know as the PHP null value. The null data type is a special data type which can only have one value, null. A variable of data type null is a variable that has no value assigned to it at all. Let's take a look at an example. Now let's declare a variable x as a string. Now let's assign a null value to the string, to the variable x we earlier declared. To declare a variable as null, we can either declare the variable and not pass a value into it at all, or you pass a keyword null into the variable. Now let's use the var_dom keyword to print out the data type of the variable s to the browser. Let's save our changes. Now let's head over to the browser to view our changes. From the browser, we can see that the data type of s is null, which is what is printed out by the var_dom keyword. In PHP, we can use the null keyword to empty an initially set variable in PHP, which is exactly what we did in this our example. The eighth data type we'll be talking about is the PHP resource. The PHP resource is not actually a data type. It is the storing of a reference to a function and resources external to PHP. A common example of using the resource data type is a database call. We will not dive deep into the resource type here, since it is considered as an advanced topic. Now, before we wrap up this session, I would like us to note that if you want to check the data type of a variable, you can use the keyword var_dom. Although there are other sophisticated means of checking the data type of variables in PHP. Example, using the getType function, which will check the human readable representation of the type for debugging. You can also use the is_type function to check for a specific type. With this, that brings us to the end of this video session.